Saving your life.
Perfect. Good evening, everybody. It is the 22nd of April, 2025 at 6 p.m. We'll call this session of West Hands Regional Municipality Council to order. Clerk Snare, we have 11 out of 12 present, so we do have quorum. If you can note, we have quorum. And one is not here currently, and that would be Councillor Smith. So we'll mark him as absent at this point, and he hasn't given regrets. So um, we are in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. These lands are governed by the treaties of peace and friendship signed in 1726. We are all treaty people and have responsibilities to each other and this land. I also believe it's important to recognize um, that African Nova Scotians are a distinct people as well, whose histories, legacies, and contributions have enriched that part of Mi'kma'ki known as Nova Scotia for over 400 years. We've had some conversations on land acknowledgement recently, and some discussions outside of this chambers with First Nations, and they believe it's always important for us to recognize the acknowledgement and to always bring awareness to it, and to help answer those questions for people who may ask why we do the acknowledgement, etc. So I think it's important that we continue doing that and highlighting the reasons why. So that's a good thing. Any other announcements, Council, before we carry on the agenda? Seeing nothing, we do have the agenda. It was circulated previous. Your dashboard items are in there. I have one change to note, Council. 13B, Climate Action Committee excerpt from the 9th of April on flood risk infrastructure investment program. We're going to move that up to 7C. And we'll have one in-camera item under MGA 22-2A in-camera land matter addition. It's just an update on some extra files that we have lingering around there. All right. Seeing nothing, the agenda is approved with just those noted additions there. Any declarations of conflict of interest? Seeing nothing. All right. We do have the previous meeting minutes, March 25th, 2025 council meeting minutes, and March 25th public hearing minutes, Housing Accelerator Fund Initiatives 1 to 3, Hansport, West Hants, and Windsor. They were circulated in the packages as well. If there's any changes to those, we'll hear them now. If not, we will accept them as is. All right. Presentations. We have our first presenter on the agenda is not here yet, so we're going to go to the second one, and if our first one shows up, we'll go back to that one at this point. But we have Mermaid Theater. Danny and Brianna, if you want to come on up. Welcome to the chambers. We're going to get you to click the button on the mic. The light will turn on. You can just bring it a little closer to you guys and try speaking directly into it. It's just folks at home can hear, and in the chambers and council as well. You have your 10 minutes. Let's go.
Hello, everyone. My name is Danny Everson, Executive Director for Mermaid Theater of Nova Scotia and Creative Producer for Mermaid TV.
And I'm Brianna Dykman, Business Development and Marketing Manager for Mermaid Theater.
So Mermaid Theater, we're here tonight to share some of our successes and what we're doing over in the downtown core. If you don't know Mermaid Theater of Nova Scotia, we change lives. We really do. We reach hundreds of thousands of children all around North America and as far as Serbia and Singapore. And we're here tonight just to go over some of the most important things that are on our agenda and how we are celebrating what we do, but also inviting, encouraging engagement through the municipality and as well as its constituents. Obviously, we know we have a theater. It's a 400-seat venue. We curate about 25 different events throughout the year, reaches about 5,000 constituents here in West Hants. And of course, we have our professional digital activities, which is Mermaid TV. And again, that reaches children and youth from around the world. So who we really are. Mermaid Theatre of Nova Scotia is recognized as the creative destination of downtown Windsor, Nova Scotia. Our complex is over 50,000 square feet of creative space comprised of several offices, rehearsal spaces, training facilities, which support hands-on puppetry intensives, professional workshop spaces, a music school, a French bakery, an upscale cafe, a 30-seat interdisciplinary space, and a fully owned 400-seat performance venue. Mermaid Theater's venue plays host to Mermaid's annual performing arts series, which is now fully integrated into several provincial-wide performing arts circuits that welcome local, regional, national, and international touring artists. And this next slide is just a promotional video that we share with our audiences when we go to Singapore or Shanghai or even the US and throughout Canada. This is something that we show just for the first 5 minutes of who we are and where we come from.
And I create plays for Mermaid Theatre of Nova Scotia. I've been making plays for children for a long time from our studios here in Windsor, Nova Scotia, Canada. Windsor is a small rural town located in Nova Scotia, which is a province on the far east coast of Canada. It's almost entirely surrounded by the waters of the Atlantic Ocean, including the Bay of Fundy, which is famous for having the highest tides in the world. Windsor is famous for its giant pumpkins, and as the town where the great game of ice hockey began. The beauty of Nova Scotia and its people are a constant source of inspiration for all of Mermaid plays. Mermaid Theatre makes plays for children, and those plays travel all over the world. We use actors, sets, props, original music, and puppets to help tell the stories.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our show. Mermaid Theatre has traveled all the way from Eastern Canada, the province of Nova Scotia, and the town of Windsor to perform for you today. So please give a warm welcome to Mermaid Theatre of Nova Scotia.
This is the story of a very hungry caterpillar. 这是好饿的毛毛虫的故事。
마지막 이야기는 배고픈 애벌레의 이야기입니다.
Voici l'histoire de la chine qui fait des temps. Esta es la historia de la orilla muy hambrienta.
This is the story of the very hungry caterpillar.
I think that's good. Thank you.
I'd like to welcome you to Puppets in Paper, a series where we explore our emotions.
Might have some background music for it.
Yeah.
And just some of the clips that you saw from the Very Hungry Caterpillar, during COVID, we pivoted and started Mermaid TV. This is one of our celebrated pieces, the Very Hungry Caterpillar, that we're still working with our publishing partners to where it's being promoted in Cleveland in May to 12,000 students. So it's not just touring theater, it's also our Mermaid TV, our digital side of the company that is expanding. So Bree, take it away.
Yeah, so going back to Mermaid Theater, so the theater right here in Windsor, 400-seat venue. We actually had our best season yet this past season. So we started off this year with a sold-out drag bingo event that resulted in us being able to donate over 400 items to the Windsor Food Bank. We had the honor of hosting Grammy-nominated artists, and we had some sold-out Christmas films, as well as Lenny Glant was sold out. We had a wonderful Valentine's Day concert with Ben Kaplan, and we had the Melatones here for Windsor's second annual winter thing. We had a great group of volunteers this past year. And as some of you may know, we are undergoing a major project to renovate the theater. So we are improving our infrastructure, safety, and digital capabilities. These updates will boost our cultural tourism, stimulate local economic development, and these renovations are set to be completed by November. Just some quick points how we are involved within the community. We do engage with schools and youth. So we do puppet workshops all throughout the year on different schools all throughout Nova Scotia. We have a work placement with Avon View High School, and we have a great partnership with King's Edgehill. So a lot of their students come to our all ages events to volunteer at all of those shows. We had some great collaborations this past year with an Indigenous dance group called the Chimera Project, where we welcomed four high schools to experience their performance at the theater. We also collaborated with the Posse Project to bring youth to a theater performance. We had lots of movie and event sponsorships last year. So Vet Mechanical, Scotia Pest Solutions, Schoolhouse Brewery, the Avon Chamber of Commerce supported our film screenings and special events. Like I mentioned, we do donate to the food bank as much as we can. We donate to fundraising events and auctions, and we are always up to collaborate with different businesses for promotions and giveaways. Something else that we started this year as well, in our dressing rooms, we started giving every artist that comes a little basket filled with some local goodies. So we're supporting local businesses as well, doing that.
Sure. So a little bit more about our community involvement. We touched on puppetry, arts education, and cultural enrichment. We have an Animotion puppetry intensive. So we have people from all around the world come study with us for 2 weeks out of the year. They live here in Windsor and work 10 hours a day with us. We have the Sarah Lee Center for Puppetry Arts. Sarah Lee Lewis, she started the company, co-founder, still is with us today. And that is a celebrated space. Animalingo was a special project that came out of COVID that now we have 60 episodes that specialize in language and culture development for young people to teach young people Mi'kmaq, Acadian French, Gaelic, Spanish, French, and Italian. So this is all done in 2D animation and 3D animation, which we have our own animation studios within the Mermaid facility. As well as that, we have a Mermaid TV and digital storytelling program. So we work with artists like George Eliot Clark, celebrated poet laureate, African Nova Scotian, just right in town. He flies to Toronto to work with us. So we bring artists and they live here and they work on our pieces, which is quite something that's very special to us. We have an upcoming production, Billy Goat's Gruff and Other Tales. It's going to be a new venture for us. We always relied on storybooks. And so this is the first time we're developed a script and involved really incredible creative players such as Kate Church, who's a Cirque du Soleil designer. She designed all of our characters. She now lives in Mahone Bay. She first started at Mermaid in the 80s. So it's kind of full circle that she came back to us and she fell in love with the story. So this is something quite special to us, as well as George Elliott Clark is going to be our narrator, which is going to be fantastic. Bree, if you want to talk a little
Yeah,
about that.
so we had a pretty exciting year on the big screen. So many of you know CBC Gem Still Standing with Johnny Harris was here, and we were featured on that. We were also featured on Eastlink's new series, No Ordinary Life, and we just won Best of the Bunch Grapevine Publishing for Best Live Music Venue. So that was pretty fun. Oh, yes. So this is just a quick little video that Davy and Sky Media made for us for the Lenny Glant concert.
Join us for an unforgettable evening in Windsor, Nova Scotia at the Charming Mermaid Theatre. Nestled in the heart of town, this intimate venue is known for its exceptional performances, and we were lucky enough to experience the one and only maritime icon, Lenny Glant, live on stage. With his captivating storytelling and heartfelt melodies, Lenny took the audience on a journey that was nothing short of magical. It was so much fun to see the crowd clapping and singing along, completely caught up in the music. Everyone was truly in the festive spirit. As you enjoy the show, the theater's bar also offers a delightful selection of local beverages and holiday-themed drinks. Whether it's live music, films, comedy, or plays, there's always something exciting happening at the Mermaid Theatre year-round. Keep an eye on their upcoming lineup and come see for yourself why this hidden gem is one of the best venues around. Join us for an unforgettable evening in...
So Davy and Sky Media, that project came out of Tourism Nova Scotia and reached thousands of people and helped us sell the spring season. So it was a great venture for us. Obviously, you know, looking at the exterior building and knowing that there's a massive amount of work that's happening inside and outside the space, renovation wise, you can see that there's a brand new steel roof on the building, siding. We didn't realize the entire facade had to be taken down to accommodate the beautiful marquee that's there right now. The entire theater has no seats. They were ripped out 2 weeks ago. And we decided to keep the character and worked with a company out of Montreal called Descharme. And so they're honoring the history and what the venue would have looked like to some degree. So we're really trying to pay attention to those details so that we can bring what's special to those people who would come to the theater as a movie theater and see those special nuances that we're still going to honor. So there's massive amounts of work. We have incredible partners, ACOA, the province, the federal government has helped out. So we have a lot of stakeholders in this project. And what that means is there's attention on this community and what we're doing. So this is a high profile project for the province. I sit on the Creative Leadership Council, Muse to Government, and I can say that there definitely is a big spotlight on this community and Mermaid. And I just want you all to know how special and thankful we are to not only be here, but you know, the work that we do really does impact so many people's lives in the community and abroad. So renovation wise, it's a massive undertaking. I know we have submitted, you know, a municipal grant. That's not entirely what this presentation is about. It's just sharing that the good work that we do and how it impacts people at home and abroad and the importance of that.
So we can quickly go through some of the key upgrades. We will be getting a new HVAC system. We're improving accessibility in terms of our seating, washrooms, and our entrances. We are updating our lighting and our sound. We will be having a modular dance floor. And we, like Danny mentioned, we're getting new seating and a new lounge area, some more new signs. This next slide, you can get a little bit of a glimpse into how we are keeping with that old school charm while renovating the new space and revitalizing it.
And obviously, there's a lot of information here. So for those folks viewing at home or present, there's a lot of schematics and what it's going to look like. And, you know, we promote that you should take a look at that after this presentation. We do have a section on testimonials from artists who have participated at Mermaid, as well as people in the community that are those folks who submit their comments on Instagram or Facebook. So I think our timeline that we're dealing with right now is everything is going to be done by the end of September. So just know that. And there's a lot of things happening all at once. So as well as moving with operations as they are with the company, both digital and our touring operations. So we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We thank you guys. It's a great presentation, and I think it's safe to say probably we each probably have a special story growing up and being in the old theater and in the new one. I know the shows that are put on are second to none. The kids, I know my kids have been left speechless. My daughter on the last funding announcement, when she cries when you try to get her to leave, that's a good thing. So it's whimsical. And your video with Jim there, it bang on, hit the nail on the head. So great job all around. Questions, comments, council to Danny or Brianna? All right. We appreciate it, guys. We know your
you.
grant
Thank you.
has been submitted. That'll go through the process after budget, et cetera, et cetera. So
Fantastic.
all right. We appreciate it. Thank you
Thank you
very
very
much.
much. And we hope to
Absolutely.
see you at a show.
Absolutely. Have a good night, guys. All right, folks. Next on the agenda is Climate Action Committee excerpt from the 9th of April, Flood Risk Infrastructure Investment Program Funding Application. Coordinator Ogilvy.
Thank you, Mayor. So as you may have noted, based on the report, it's not an excerpt from the Climate Action Committee meeting. But this is a recommendation report seeking an endorsement from Council to apply for the Flood Risk Infrastructure Investment Program to help support the Home Flood Protection Pilot Program. And we may be able to get up to 50% of the project costs, so up to $240,000 if the application is successful. So if there are any questions on that project or application, I'd certainly be happy to take them.
All right, Council. Report was circulating the packages. If there are any questions for Coordinator Ogilvy, we can take those now. If not, we'll look for the motion put on the floor for debate. All right, Councillor Leary Pinch.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Just curious, I know there's a deadline to apply, but do we know what the timeline is for when they decide, like when you'll hear back about funding?
If through you, Mayor, if I remember correctly, it's 6 to 8 weeks following. I would have to check up on that to make sure again. Yeah.
Okay, no more questions. I'll look for the motion to be put on the floor. Councillor Smith.
Sure. Recommendation that council endorses an application to the Nova Scotia Flood Risk Infrastructure Investment Program to assist in funding the Home Flood Protection Pilot Program, for which council has previously allocated $480,000 in the 2024-25 operating budget and is being carried over into the 2025-26 operating budget.
Motion is made
Second.
by Councillor Bonnie Smith, seconded by Deputy Mayor Francis. For discussion or any questions on the motion, Council? All right, clerks now, we'll put the vote up on the screen there. Motion is passed. Thank you very much, everybody. All right, we do have two public hearings, Council. The first one is 33 Lakewood Drive, Brooklyn, PID 45017-183, rezoning. Can I have a motion to go in camera? In public hearing.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Councillor Palmore and seconded by Councillor Leary Pinch. We're going to do a show of hands. All those in favor signify by hands up. Opposed, motion is passed. Thank you very much. So public hearings are for any planning documents are required by Part 8 of the Municipal Government Act. Public hearing is hosted by council and allows the members of the public to ask questions of the applicant or planning staff. When the public hearing is complete, the council meeting will resume and council may then have discussion and debate on the topic. Planner Hung, 33 Lakewood Drive, Brooklyn.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So as the mayor mentioned, we are here tonight for the public hearing. I will begin with a presentation as planner, and afterward, we will open the floor for public comment and have a conversation with anyone who wishes to speak tonight. So just a little bit background of this application. A complete application was received from Michael Redmond on behalf of Diane Saunders on November 5th last year. And the application was to rezone the subject lot from a split zone of highway commercial and 2-unit residential to 2-unit residential R2 entirely in order to subdivide 3 different residential lots after rezoning. And this is the aerial photo of the subject property. The property is currently used for a personal residence with frontage on both Lakewood Drive and Highway 215. The property is also surrounded by a few single unit detached homes, and you can also find a self-storage facility on the southeastern corner of the subject lot. And this image shows the generalized future land use map, which indicates the subject properties and the surrounding properties are designated village in this area. And this image refers to the zoning map of the West Hands land use bylaw, which shows currently part of the property is zoned 2-unit residential, and another portion is zoned highway commercial with the frontage on Highway 215. So the proposal tonight is to rezone this property entirely to 2-unit residential, which will permit 2-unit dwellings, mini homes, and also uses permitted in the R1 zone, which is subject to the R1 zone requirements. And this is a picture taken in early January this year, which shows the view of the subject lot from Lakewood Drive. And here is another picture taken from Highway 215. So the enabling policy for this application is the policy 6.2.3, which allows council to consider rezoning land within the village designation to single unit residential or 2-unit residential. And in summary, the criteria to this policy is met since the subject lot is not conflict with adjacent existing uses. And for our next policy here, we have policy 16.3.1, which includes general criteria for any amendments to the land use bylaw of West Hands. And in summary, this criteria has also been met since the proposal is not considered premature or inappropriate for the area, and no municipal costs related to the proposal are anticipated. And also the fire chief, development officers, manager of building and fire inspection services, area manager of the Nova Scotia Department of Public Works, and our own Public Works Engineering Division have no concern, which have not been addressed in this report. So through our planning process, we first held the public information meeting on January 15th this year, and the meeting was broadcast on the municipal YouTube channel. Approximately 9 members attended the meeting with 1 individual speaking. The deadline for the comment period was January 29th this year, and staff didn't receive any responses from the public during that period. And staff did receive 1 comment before the comment period, which expressed concerns for safe roadway access on potential new driveway on Highway 215. So with this concern in mind, staff reached out to the Nova Scotia Public Works Department because they have the jurisdiction on the Highway 215, and they have confirmed that the subject lot has safe roadway access to both Lakewood Drive and Highway 215. And during the public hearing comment period, staff received no written correspondence from the public regarding this file. So the final slide here summarizes the process to date. Staff first held a public information meeting and provided a recommendation report to the Planning Advisory Committee on March 13th. And the PAC forwarded a positive recommendation, which moved this application to first reading on March 25th. So tonight we are at the final stage for public hearing and the second reading. Then council will make the final decision on this application. And at this point, all statutory requirements have now been met. And if this application was approved, the notice of approval will be placed in the paper, and that would outline 14-day appeal period to the Nova Scotia Regulatory and Appeals Board. And this brings my presentation to the end, and I will hand it over to you, Mayor. And we don't have presentation from the applicant.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Planner Hong. Anybody in attendance wishing to speak or to ask questions on the file? Come on up. We're going to get you to sit up here in the front. We'll get you to click the button onto the mic. And please talk right into it. State your name for the record, and we'll get your question.
End up on the floor. My name's Al Johnson, and I own property at 65 Lakewood Drive, which is a corner property, right? And of course, paid a good buck for property and the buildings, and every house around us is quite large. And I noticed that they're talking small houses or duplexes, right? The other issue is there's a lot of water that comes across my property, which you never ever get there because the road is not, and the drainage is not kept up. And now we're going to put some houses down there. I don't know if it's going to affect the water, but like I said, there is a lot of water going down. I like the view that I got, which is quite natural. And now it's going to be taken away from me, my neighbor. My neighbor couldn't attend tonight, but anyway, like I said, I have some issues with where are the roads going to be put. Lakewood Drive is a mess. They keep patching it every year and they don't do a very good job of it. Now they plan on putting more traffic in it, not counting the traffic that's going to be on the 215. So I'm just wondering whereabouts are these entrances to this little mini subdivision going to be? Or is there any plans on where they're going to be, et cetera, et cetera? Because like when I bought the piece of property, I was more or less assured that it was going to stay exactly the way it was. But hey, I know things change. So I'd just like to know a little bit more about it if I could, if it's possible. So maybe I could take it back to my neighbors and explain it to them. But this was quite a shock to me when I got this letter that they were even doing this. It was the last time I talked to the lady that owned the property, who I brought my property from, was just going to build a small little house next to hers on Lakewood Drive, and that was it. And things have changed in the last year, big time. So.
I don't think there are any plans, Planner Hung, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's any concrete plans of what will be built, if anything will be built. I think it's just rezoning pretty much to allow for more uses.
How many lots are going to be? 3, is it?
Through chair to the member of public, and the mayor answered most of the question. And right now, this is just for the rezoning application. So once the rezoning is approved, the applicant will go through the subdivision process because his intention was just to rezone the property to entirely residential because he has no intention to build any commercial business on the frontage of Highway 215. So I believe they will have 3 subdivision afterwards. And then again, the permitted uses is outlined in my slides, which includes 2-unit residential or mini homes or single unit dwellings. And I don't have any plans from the applicant of where he intends to put the driveway. But again, I already consulted with the provincial Department of Public Works, who they have confirmed that they both Lakewood, this property has safe roadway access of both Lakewood Drive as well as the Highway 215. So I hope that address your concerns.
I'd just like to know how many houses are gonna be sitting down beside me that weren't there now, like there's woods there now, right, or grass? Right, am I gonna see a dozen houses back there?
For sure. So again, once the rezoning was approved, so if say the property will be subdivided into 3 more lots, then each lot will be able to have one main dwelling. So
Just 3 lots,
right, correct.
and they're gonna be developed, one on Lakewood and the rest on 215.
I don't have this answer.
So this, once it's rezoned, we have, the people around have no say. What's gonna happen?
Currently with the zoning now, sir, will allows commercial along the 215. So
Well, yeah, but that's all she's taken away is just the commercial.
yeah, so they don't want to do, well, they have no interest in any commercial usage in the future. So they just want to rezone it
wanted
as
it
residential
residential.
specifically. So
There's 3 lots available.
there's 3 lots there currently, I believe. So and they would give you access both on the 215 or on Lakewood to the lots. So yep.
My property borders on Giant, so
I-
I'm wondering where the road's gonna be, right? You know, there's enough traffic on my road as there is. And if you lived in my house, you'd swear there was a 200 unit subdivision behind me. Because I never heard so much cars traveling back and forth on that road in my entire life, you know, and it was quiet until the Department of Highways come and cut all the trees down for some reason. And I still haven't figured that out yet. Right, but it was a sound buffer for me on the road. And now you're gonna take the back trees away. So I'm gonna hear more traffic noise from the main road. I guess I had my say. Looks like what's gonna happen is gonna happen, and I don't really have much say in it. So. Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you. Any further residents in the audience wishing to speak on the file? All right. Nobody there. Anything further on your end, Planner Hung?
No, Chair.
All right.
And I have the recommendation for the
With
next one.
that, council, we will conclude this part of the public hearing. We will resume the council meeting. We will take questions. If they further questions to Planner Hung, we'll take them now. If not, I'll look for the recommendation be put on the floor and the debate or discussion on that. Councilor Ivy.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. One item that I did want to ask about, which takes me back a bit, but within the report provided, it's section F of 16 dot. It's page 10 of the report, and it under 16.3.1. And as the point as it relates to the suitability of the area in terms of steepness of grade, geological conditions, location of watercourses, wetlands, and susceptibility of flooding. And I believe I've heard the gentleman whose name I've forgotten make reference to water flowing down across his property from the subject lot and his concerns with regards to, I guess, dwellings being built. But our reference here makes no reference to susceptibility of flooding. In fact, it says that there no water bodies or wetlands appear to be present on the mapping of the subject lot. Do we have anybody that can comment on that? That he seemed to be raising a concern about flooding. Are we able to be assured of that there are no flooding risks associated with this, the potential development of this property?
So if I could put council into a better picture, and no disrespect against any explanation of how things were before, the gentleman who spoke earlier is on the top end of the property, actually.
Thank you.
The flooding or the water issues that he was describing are culvert issues that are the drainage ditches for the adjacent road rather than Lakewood Drive itself. Just how the road is sloped, comes off a ditch on the low part, and then his property is lower, the road is up here, so everything filters down. And then the subject project we're talking about is even behind that.
Is below that.
So it all goes down rather than the opposite way.
Thank you. It just appeared based on the description that there was a bit of a contradiction, I guess, is the way to. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Any further questions to Planner Hong? Deputy Mayor.
I'd make the motion if there's no more questions.
Okay.
The council gives first reading and will hold a public hearing to consider amending Schedule A of the West Hants Use Bylaw to rezone PID 45017-183 at 33 Lakewood Drive in Brooklyn from the split zone of 2-unit residential R2 and highway commercial GC zone to the 2-unit residential R2 zone entirely as shown in the report number 24-25 to the Planning and Heritage Advisory Committee dated March 13th, 2025.
Motion is made by Deputy Mayor. Is there a seconder?
Just before anybody seconds it, she said first reading should say second reading.
Oh, yes.
Give second reading it.
Sorry.
Okay, and I will second it.
Seconded by Councillor Paul Morton. Further discussion on the motion. All right, we'll put it to a vote. Clerk Snare. Motion is passed. Thank you very much, everybody. Our next public hearing is College Road Winter, PID 454-05784, rezoning and West Hants land use bylaw amendments. Can I have a motion to go into public hearing again, Council?
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Councillor Paul Morton, seconded by Deputy Mayor Francis. All those in favor signify by hands up. Opposed, motion is passed. Thank you very much, everybody. So public hearings for planning documents or planning matters are required Part 8 of the Municipal Government Act. This session is hosted by council. The intention of the public hearing is to allow the public or anybody who has an interest in the matter to ask questions or raise concerns to planning staff or the applicant. Once the public hearing is concluded, council meeting will resume and council may then ask questions and make comments on it. So Planner Hong, College Road Windsor, PID 454-05784.
Thank you, Chair. So I will also note that the applicant will have a presentation after me. So this is about rezoning application PID 4540-5784 and amendments to the Windsor Land Use Bylaw. So this slide shows the ortho photo of the subject lot as outlined in the yellow. The lot is currently undeveloped and partially utilized for some agriculture activity. As you can see, the subject lot has frontage on College Road. It is also directly abutting to the King's Edge Hill School site, which is indicated by the red star. And this is a photo taken in early February this year, where you can see the existing open field on the site, which has been used for growing some pumpkins and hays last year. So a little bit background. A completed application was received from Brighter Community Planning on behalf of King's Edge Hill School on January 7 this year. And the application is to request rezone the subject lot from single unit residential to institutional zone, and also amend the Windsor Land Use Bylaw to allow agrivoltaic system as an accessory use in the institutional zone. And so a little bit background of the agrivoltaics. So it is a emerging concept, and simply put, it is dual use of land for both solar energy production and agriculture. And here is a reference picture. As you can see, the solar panels are positioned to allow crop to grow underneath the solar panels. So in considering this rezoning request, policy 16.1.3 of the Windsor Municipal Planning Strategy enables council to consider to zone any area immediately adjacent to a given land on the generalized future land use map to a zone permitted in the adjacent designation. So This slide shows the generalized future land use map, which indicates the subject property is currently designated residential. The property to the east is designated community use, which is the King's Edge Hill School site. So in this case, because the subject lot is immediately adjacent to the King's Edge Hill School, so policy 16.1.3 would apply to this scenario, which allows council to rezone the subject lot to a zone that is allowed within the community use designation. So in this case, the subject lot could be rezoned to the institutional zone. And the other two policies that staff are looking into is first policy GP-1 and -2, which allow council to regulate accessory use by specific development standards and allow the accessory use to be located on the lot held in the same ownership and directly abuts from the lot containing the main use it is intended to serve. So in this case, because the subject lot is also owned by King's Edge Hill School and the proposed agrivoltaic system is intended to serve the school by producing solar power and growing their own food. So in this case, policy GP-2 has also been met. And against policy 16.3.1 states general criteria in consideration of the amendments to the land use bylaw. And in summary, this policy has also been met since fire chief, development officers, manager of building and fire inspection services, traffic authority, and the public works engineering division have no concern with the proposed development. And also no municipal costs related to the proposal are anticipated. So staff are proposing amendments to the Windsor land use bylaw in order for council to allow this type of proposal. So obviously agrivoltaic system is something that was never considered before. So in this case, we need to produce amendments to both text of the Windsor land use bylaw as well as the map of the Windsor land use bylaw. So specifically, this includes amend the zoning map of Windsor land use bylaw to change the subject lot from single unit residential R1 to institutional zone, and also amend the text of Windsor land use bylaw to allow agrivoltaic system as an accessory use in the institutional zone and add a new definition of such use to the bylaw. And this image shows the current zoning map of the Windsor land use bylaw, which indicates again the subject lot is currently zoned single unit residential, and the uses permitted under this zone is single unit dwellings. And zoning from the surrounding properties include agriculture, 2-unit residential, institutional, and the College Road Comprehensive Development District. So this shows the proposed zoning map, which would be changed to the zoning from single unit residential to institutional, which will be the same zone as the King's Edge Hill School, and also allow a range of institutional uses, which include any institutional uses that is incorporated under the Societies Act, and also college, university, schools, including school, dormitory, and also community center, as well as community service clubs and organizations. So this slide here shows the proposed text amendments. As I mentioned in my report, agrivoltaics is an emerging concept, and staff are not aware of any development currently being proposed in Nova Scotia. So we have to create amendments into that. And this is what staff propose. The requirements we put forward would require a site plan to be submitted during the permitting process to identify things like setbacks, landscape buffers, and along the residential properties, and also total area of solar panels, and etc. And we would also need to create a specific definition to the Windsor land use bylaw, and this is how we propose to define it. An agrivoltaic system means the simultaneous use of land for both renewable energy production through an arrangement of solar photovoltaic panels and agriculture uses of growing and harvesting of vegetables, fruits, berries, nuts, or other similar products. So the public hearing was, so at this moment, all the statutory requirements have been met, and during the public hearing comment period, staff received no written correspondence. And again, this slide summarizes the process. To date, staff first held a public information meeting on February 5th and provided a recommendation report to the Planning Advisory Committee on March 13th. And PAC forwarded a positive recommendation, which moved the application to first reading last month. So tonight we are at the final stage for public hearing and second reading. Then council will make the final decision on this application. So if the application was approved, the notice of approval will be placed on papers, followed by a 14-day appeal period to the Nova Scotia Regulatory and Appeals Board. So this brings my presentation to the end. I will hand it over to you, Chair.
Thank you very much. The applicants want to come up and do a presentation now? I'm sure you need no introduction, but we're going to get you to click the mic on there, and we'll just get you to state your names for the record, and we'll give you the floor.
Right. I'm Joe Seagram. I'm the head of school, King's Edge Hill School.
I'm Lauren Isabel, a planner with Brighter Community Planning and Consulting.
And happy Earth Day, everybody. And in celebration of that, I'll have you know that I am wearing only thrifted clothing from In the Bin. And we're to have an Earth Week at the school. You may have seen over 100 of our students throughout the streets of Windsor and around the lake, cleaning up garbage and picking up what they can and cleaning up the pit. So this is really all about the environment for us. And so I'd like to go through that story and why this is important. So provide a little context. Next. So just a little background. As many of you know, I mean, we're the oldest independent school in the Commonwealth, obviously the first school in North America. Blessed with all sorts of great traditions and some great old buildings. And we do, pretty incredible job. So there are students coming from all over the world, and they can go to any school they want, but they happen to choose King's Edge Hill in little old Windsor, Nova Scotia, which is absolutely fantastic. Next. So a lot of diversity on campus. Next. And students coming from all ages. So we have grade 6 to grade 12, and 100% of our students go off to university and colleges. Our graduating class is receiving over $1.5 million in scholarship offers from universities around the world. So we really are a jewel in the crown of independent schools in North America. Next. We are a green school in Nova Scotia, so we have provincial certification, but we're really looking to be ambitious next and have national and next international certification and be an international eco school and not just to be at the bronze level, but to go right up to the platinum level. We feel that this is our ethical duty. That we really must be educating our students to be good stewards of the planet, and no better leadership is that leadership of being a good role model, setting a good example. And alas, the school, for all our hard work, next, we do everything we can to reduce our carbon footprint. And there's all sorts of innovations at the school, from LED lights to water saver showers, which annoy students incredibly because it's hard to get wet. But we have all the recycling bins and do all the different presentations and stuff. But next, we use 290,000 of furnace oil a year. And that is an incredible amount of carbon going in the environment. And they're old buildings. These are old systems. And my guilt is like bigger than this room. And we really need to do something about it. So next, this is our plan. So this is part of the plan. So the first part is, and we're doing everything simultaneously, so I can't really say there's a first part, but you know, we are electrifying our campus. So we are using, you may have known them as Equilibrium Engineering, but it's a Nova Scotia company now, looks like LMW. So it's LMMW. Will Marshall is the chief engineer. He's a graduate of the school. There's just been this fabulous article that's been written about this project, but he is a world leader in conversion systems. So while we are electrifying the campus, we're also looking at where that electricity is coming from. So we're replacing all our burners, all our hot water heaters, all our, all the dorm heat, all that sort of stuff, gym heat, the rest. It's all going electric, geothermal. But, we have to look at where the electricity comes from. So we're looking at green source power. So we do have a relationship with Renewal, and we have a contract with them to provide us with wind power in the wintertime. But interesting enough, wind power has a season, and so we are supplementing the wind power with solar in the summer, and looking to, as part of our pedagogy and curriculum development and creating a really good ethos in terms of the environment, to be able to have some field to table plans for this, so that we're actually not just producing electricity, but we're producing food as well. So next. So agrivoltaics, borrowed some of our slides. Well done. Thanks. But it's a new technology, and it's amazing how this agrivoltaics actually can be really beneficial for crop growing, because a lot of plants grow better in partial sunlight, but the soil still receives the same amount of rainfall. So it shields the plant from the sun, but it still allows for there to be plenty of water to allow the crops to grow. So our plan would be to have, to grow, to harvest, have students involved, for the school. And there's all sorts of opportunities for the community to have community gardens as well. We purchased this Christmas tree size lot some years ago from Danny Dill, but we have also produced the adjacent 13 acres from him as well. So this application is just to rezone this section. Whether we'd use the whole parcel for solar panels is yet to be seen, but likely not. But the whole other section that abuts it, there's Danny will continue to grow his pumpkins and that on it. But we have no plans for that parcel. But we are actually our own neighbors on this lot on both big sides. Next slide, please. So here's the view. So you can see on the screen there that rectangular space. So that's about the size where the agrivoltaic facility will go. And so it's right beside and up tight to the school. Obviously, we'd have the proper setbacks in terms of College Road, and Danny's property and the Abrams property. So, looking to have it right there. So I hope that's pretty self-explanatory. And next, there's the Christmas tree lot. And really the solar panels would go right where the star is and right where you see the cultivated land. The panels likely wouldn't extend into the uppermost part of the Christmas tree, and obviously wouldn't on the access. And that access is really theoretical, because we plan to access this from Bill Wade Drive, which is the driveway that services, that main southern portion of the campus that goes directly into the main parking lot by the athletic center. So there'll be no intrusion onto College Road at this point. And next, and this is really site description for the planners amongst us. But I think Wells got this well under control, just, showing who our neighbors are. But as mentioned, we really are our own neighbors on this side, as we've bought the other side of the Christmas tree from Danny as well. And again, this is a picture, it doesn't have snow on it, but this is a picture of the lands. This is a gentle southern facing slope. And the site really, like the panels really wouldn't be visible. I've walked the site from the other side. I've gone door to door to all the residents on College Road and Kingsview Drive. And most of them wouldn't even be able to see it or see the panels themselves. There's only a couple on Kingsview. You know, and that, you know, you'd sort of have to go on your tippy toes on the second floor, you know, to really see it. So, you know, it is kind of tucked away there. And next, so there's conceptual drawing. That would be the maximum use. That would be the very largest. That field there would serve more than the school would require. We would actually be selling in that portion, we'd actually be selling power back to Renewal, which would actually be pretty cool for my bottom line. Next, there's a definition, but I think you don't need to read that. Next, this is well explained by Will in the previous presentation in terms of accessory use and stuff, and all the impacts, you know, all the things that were considered, traffic, aesthetics, and I've delivered letters by hand to all the neighbors, and we actually had quite a number come to the first reading, and that was lovely. There was some great support there, and I've not received anything negative from any of the neighbors. Abrams is concerned about runoff, but that's current runoff from Billway Drive. But we'd ensure that you know, when the heavy equipment was there, that we made sure the ditches were well dug and he was well looked after. You know, we want to be good neighbors with everyone and good partners with the town and community, and you know, certainly want to be good neighbors with him. So we'll make sure that his water concerns are looked after. And you know, obviously it fits our sustainability goals and meets, you know, all sorts of you know, initiatives that are important, not just municipality, but the province and our nation, and I would hope the globe. And I'm hoping that our students will graduate having a very strong environmental ethic and tremendous pride in the community and the school itself. And I think that brings us pretty much to the end, and a thank you. So I'm open for any questions.
Thank you so much. All right. Questions, council, to our presenters at this point on the application? Ivy.
Thank you, Chair. Question which came up at the public information meeting, and you touched on it. If I could, Chair, through you to Mr. Seagram, dealing with what exists in the area generally for drainage and flooding. And, you know, before the recent work on College Road, I know that the ditches that bordered your property would often, you know, culminate with water and the lower ends of the fields and so on. This is purely a rezoning, so we're not into the detail of ditching and drainage. So I don't want to preempt that, but just to your comment about how you looked out during the recent construction period and so on, that you kind of envisage the same thing with this sort of a project. Joe, am I correct in interpreting what you're saying in that regard to ensure that there isn't flooding going towards the properties at the bottom end? Or
absolutely.
I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'm just trying to phrase my question to make it clear. Right?
As long as I'm head of school, we'll make sure that Danny and Abrams are looked after. Yeah. There's really just the two properties there, and
right.
Yeah, not that's not a concern.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, we're not seeing any more lights on. Well, thank you for your presentation, folks.
Thank you.
And we'll let you
very much.
get back to your chairs. Anything further on your end, Will?
Through your chair, no.
You're good. Anybody in the public wishing to speak on the file or the matter at all? Yep, we're gonna get you to come up to the front here, and we'll get you to click the light there on, and just state your name for the record.
I'm Harold Adams, and I reside at, I and my wife reside at 316 College Road on the adjacent property. Some of the issues have been touched upon, and of course, as Mr. Seagram has said, our concern is drainage, runoff, water. The other concern I have from the research I've done The inverters that are part of the system, they give off noise. And I'm wondering if there's any study been done as to how much noise these will emit and how it might affect adjacent property owners. That's a concern that I have. And of course, the school would be close to and would get any noise from those inverters.
Any information on that, Planner Hong?
Through you, Chair. Since I'm not the subject matter expert on the agrotech, so a lot of research that I have been done relied on the other places, like mostly in the States. So through in my report, this is why we recommend a site plan to be submitted, and also knowing that they will have other development standard, for example, like setbacks from the both sides and also the rear yard. So in this case, in the institutional zone, the setbacks will be 30 feet, and so that is also a way to address some of your concern regarding the noise.
Right. Okay. Also from my research, there's some question as the effect of the farm on property values. Have you done any research in that regard?
We typically don't look at property values when it comes to planning
Sure.
matters.
Okay,
So
no.
it's just
All
through
right.
land
Fine.
rezoning and stuff.
So, Mr. Hong, if you say that the adjacent King's property, the existing property, is the east, then Mr. Seagram has said, or someone has said, that these panels will face south, then I would be concerned about glare on our property or any property on College Road. Maybe across the street, the Dickey's property or the Morton property or those properties.
The glare from the panels is what you
From
said.
from the panels
Yeah,
themselves, right?
Any research on that one, Planner Hong?
Sure. So that is a good question, and based on our correspondence from during the prior period, and so the proposed tax amendments to the Windsor Land Use Bylaw, one of the site plan criteria will be specifically addressing the glare, which is they will have proposed screening or landscape buffer along the property line adjacent to residential lots or public street to prevent projection of reflective glare. So that is already addressed in the proposed tax amendments.
All right, but any landscape buffer would take years to grow unless you're going to have mature trees that could stop glare from a second story home. So that would not be practical in the short term. Maybe years down the road it might be, but in the short term that would not be practical. So what else? What other buffer would be considered?
Through chair to the member of public, again, another way to address this is through the setbacks requirements, which is 30 feet. And this is through the consultation with our development officer. They are the administrator of the land use bylaw. So through my consultation with them, they have no concerns regarding the setbacks requirements, and they believe it is sufficient to address any like noise and or the glare.
Well, just to add, I'm in favor of the application, both for rezoning and for the farm. Those are my concerns, which I think might affect our property. So, thanks for listening to them.
We appreciate the comments. It's always good to know.
Okay, good.
Anybody further wishing to speak on the matter? All right. With that, we will conclude this public hearing. We will resume the council meeting, and we do have two recommendations. If we can get those up on the screen, Planner Hong. That's the first one there. Somebody wishes to make that. Councillor Leary Pinch.
That council gives second reading and approves amending the zoning map of the Windsor Land Use Bylaw to rezone PID 454-05784 on College Road in Windsor from single-unit residential R1 to the institutional I zone as shown in the report number 25-01 to the Planning and Heritage Advisory Committee dated March 13th, 2025.
Moved by Counselor Leary Pinch. Is there a
Second.
seconder? Seconded by Counselor Ivy. Further discussion or comments on the motion? All right, we'll put that to a vote. Clerk Snare. Motion is passed. Thank you very much. We do have a second recommendation, which is on the screen now. Somebody wishes to make that? Counselor Leary Pinch.
That council gives second reading and approves amending the Windsor Land Use Bylaw to allow agrivoltaic systems as an accessory use in the institutional zone as shown in the report number 25-01 to the Planning and Heritage Advisory Committee dated March 13th, 2025.
Moved by Counselor Leary Pinch, seconded by Counselor
Second.
Ivy. Further discussion, questions? See nothing? We'll put that vote up on the screen, Clerk Snare. Motion is passed. Thank you very much. All right, unfinished business, postponed motions. We have nothing there. I'm going to do a verbal report, council. All right, as I think we were all council strategy session, CBCL update, visioning. We were all mainly part of that that item. Did have an opportunity with me, Deputy Mayor CAO, to sit down with the RCMP and a business owner within the community to discuss issues within the cores and how we can improve things for businesses and safety wise. So that was very productive, I think, and good things came from that. And the more you discuss, the more you sit down, the more you learn, I guess, is the main thing. Again, myself, Deputy Mayor, had an opportunity to go to the UDI breakfast in Halifax. Mayor Fillmore was the host with Deputy CAO Anguish. It was quite the eye opener. You know, a lot of good information, a lot of developers, engineering firms, housing infrastructure investment was discussed. Infrastructure deficits were discussed. Water, sewer, storm. That was the theme of the morning, pretty much. Affordable housing. Higher levels of government funding, faster development approvals as of right, responsible decision making, planning, looking at more efficient decision making, diversifying income sources for HRM, return on their investment. So when they do a project, how can they get some of their investment back as well? So looking at the public-private partnerships and sponsorships. I think it was quite a good learning session, and definitely well worth the morning. A key phrase that was said that day, and I forget the individual said it, but growth needs leadership, courage, and efficient decision making, and kind of break down silos, accelerate change, and focus on efficient decision making. Like that kept on. I think that was the theme of the day: efficient decision making. I've never heard so many times it was referenced, but you know, it's fun to look at the bigger units and see what they're doing and see their problems and issues and how they look to address them. So, well worth the morning. Had a chance to sit down with Capital Health, discuss priorities. They were interested in our water utilities and adding fluoride to the water. So it was a good discussion and you know, for another day, but it was interesting on their end. Regional Science Fair was a success again this year. Had a chance to judge, I guess, is on one of the days. I think Deputy Mayor was there. I think some staff were there on another day. Congratulations to all the participants. Many placed this year from West Hants, which was quite refreshing. King's Edgehill, the middle school, all of the elementary schools, I think at least one. So we have a lot of bright up and coming kids in our system, and they were all pretty excited. Attended PAC, Rules of Order workshop. I think large number from this group were at that. Mount Dunson Garden Club District 5 AGM was another success. And the action update on the future of Nova Scotia coastline. So I had an opportunity to sit down last Thursday with the Minister Rushton and some other staff from the province, explaining their example land use bylaw texts on coastline protection, financial supports that'll be going through the NSFM, hiring that individual who will help municipalities and support municipalities on adopting those texts. Three key themes on the coastal protection plan: supporting informed decision making, supporting municipal leadership, and aligning resources with coastal protection. There is a coastal hazard map. A lot of enhancements have been made to that as well. You can just enter your property and it'll show you the flood risks for your property. Any Nova Scotian, I didn't know this, any Nova Scotian can request a coastal hazard report for their property from one of the navigators for years 2050 and 2100. And so anybody watching at home or any council member, anybody interested, coastal navigator at novascotia.ca. So coastal navigator at Nova Scotia spelled out .ca, and gives you all the information, and any Nova Scotian has the right to request that report. Again, the text amendments pretty much looking to define coastal areas within land use bylaw, setting minimum vertical elevation to protect against flooding, setting coastal buffers to protect against erosion, providing exemptions and uses that for anybody who is currently using a property that may not fall within the new rules, and providing on-site specific decisions based on study. So a lot of work. I know a lot of people were expecting the province to do a blanket thing for all municipalities, but this is a good step forward as well. Again, many community-based discussions and on multiple various topics of concern within the municipality. I won't get into all of those. I'm sure you're all hearing the same ones. And just want to give a shout out to the Broomball National Organizing Committee, Daryl and crew. Great nationals again. Big boom to the economy for West Hants and surrounding municipalities. They provided a great venue, and it was just well done. Great comments, council all around for our staff, the facility, the community, and everything. So you should be very proud of what you've achieved and accomplished here within West Hants. It is known. It is definitely picked up on people coming in. So just congratulations to all of you on that one as well. Quick report. Last time I'll do a verbal one. I will submit written from now on to fall within our policies as well. Just want to highlight that I was very impressed with all the reports that councilors submitted as well. It's refreshing to hear, quite honestly. So that is my report. From that, we will move on to our financial updates. General operating as of February 28th, Director Rochon.
Thank you, Rochelle. So the report was submitted in advance in the package, and I'll just highlight a couple key things in there. As previously highlighted in our January 31st report, our D-transfer tax came in higher than budget. We are 222,656 higher than what we had budgeted. We also are seeing a projected trend with the recreation revenue relating to rentals and the field house and the broomball tournaments. So we're definitely seeing some projected increases in the recreation revenue. Other than that, nothing else has really fluctuated too much since the previous, and we are expecting a surplus of 570,000. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Director Rochon. Questions to Director on the report? All right, so we'll move on to water utility.
Thank you, Your Worship. again, the report was submitted to you in advance in the package. We are seeing that the surplus is looking to be about 37,981. We had an overall change of 1.8% in our revenue increase and a increase in our expenses of 0.9. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions on water? Councillor Scott McLean.
Thank you, Mayor, through to Director Rashawn. I had a question on the other operating revenue due to the bulk water sales. Like, just roughly what was how much was that? Just curious. Is there like a value for that, or is it like cubic meters or liters?
So I don't have the read right in front of me, but I can tell you the revenue for it if you just give me 1 second here. So our water sales, we had budgeted 73,000 because it was projecting lower last year. And so based on that, we lowered it. However, this year it increased again. So right now the actual is about 117. So, and that's as February. So we have probably one more month. So we're projecting it a little higher than 117.
Okay, thanks. And a follow up. Is that just the one bulk water filling station on that?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Any further questions? All right, we'll move on to water consumption. Director Rashawn.
Thank you, Your Worship. Again, this has been submitted in advance to council. The biggest change again is there's not much of a change since our last report. It's just account closures or adjustments, final billings. The other thing that was incorporated is our authorized and accounted for water. So we were able to add the flushing station in there. So that was something that we've accounted for and added into the report. I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Questions on consumption? Councillor Arkin.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thanks for the report, Director Rashawn. Just one question. I know we're not reporting fourth quarter as of yet, but there's a couple of numbers that are dropping in there. But the one I'm most curious about is the 3 Mile Plains, which shows under fourth quarter with a shortfall of 60,000. I'm not sure gallons or liters that we're reporting here, gallons. Not a large number, but we're showing a deficit on that or a loss. Is there a reason for that?
So in Q3?
No, in Q4.
In Q4.
It showed a negative 60,711. It's the.
Oh, so that's the 3 Mile Plains residential. And so right now that's only showing any accounts that have been adjusted or final bills.
So it's only partial that we're seeing there at the present time.
It would only be closed accounts or adjusted accounts. So there's no Q4 billing in there yet.
So what do you mean by closed accounts or adjusted?
So if you move out halfway through the period,
yes,
we close your account and bill you for the final bill.
Got it.
If you move in, you don't get billed. So those would be, we might have to final bill the other person. The other thing when we get adjusted is if we send out our water bills and somebody says, my water bill looks a little too high or looks a little too low, we investigate their meter, and whatever we investigate, we then adjust. So it's either adjustments up or down based on that investigation.
Taking place within the fourth quarter, but not part of
exactly.
Not part of the overall financial. Am I correct? Yeah.
Well, these would have financial implications because they would be adjustments on individuals' customer accounts.
Right, but they're not based on full billings of people still
No,
residing.
because that wouldn't be billed until April because we just did the reads in March.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you very
This is
much.
for the end of February. Yeah. Okay. Any further questions? All right.
I'll just like to add
Sure.
one more thing. Just as a reminder, this will be next month. We won't have a financial update because we'll still be doing our year-end close. So the financial updates will come the next following month. However, we'll still be bringing forth the consumption report. So I just wanted to let you guys know ahead because I know some of you are new around the table. We always take a little bit of time to get that final March one updated because we are in year-end right now.
I appreciate it very much, Dr. Rashawn. All right, the committee of the whole, council excerpts from the 8th of April, Bear Lake Wind Farm Liaison Committee. Deputy Mayor.
Council appoints a member of West Hants Regional Municipality Council to be a representative and participate in the Bear Lake Wind Project Community Liaison Committee, CLC, for their proposed renewable energy development.
Moved by Deputy Mayor. Is there a seconder?
Second.
Seconded by Councillor Paul Moran. Discussion on the motion. All right, we'll put that to a vote. Clerk Snare. Motion is passed. Thank you very much. We'll get to the second recommendation on that one, then we'll finish the committee hall and then we'll come back to nominations for that committee council.
Council directs the CAO to engage staff to make the necessary changes to the meeting committee procedural policy RCOGE-003.00 to include appendix identifying the Bear Lake Wind Project Community Liaison Committee and include a terms of reference as set out by the committee.
Moved by Deputy Mayor.
Second.
Seconded by Councillor Paul Moran. Further discussion on the motion. All right, we'll put that vote up on the screen. Clerk Snare. Motion is passed. Thank you very much. Extended producer responsibility, EPR.
Council approves entering into an agreement with Circular Materials as per the extended producer responsibility EPR model and opting in based on the terms and conditions in the report.
Moved by Deputy Mayor. Seconder. Seconded by Councillor Leary Pinch. Further discussion on the motion. All right, we'll put that vote up on the screen. Clerk Snare. Motion is passed. Thank you very much. Grants and contributions policy.
Council adopt the amended West Hants Regional Municipality Grants and Contributions Policy.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Leary Pinch. Discussion on this. All right, if we can put the vote up on the screen, Clerk Snare. Motion is passed. Asphalt Main Street Renewal Tender Award, Deputy Mayor.
Council pre-approves the award of tender WHRMPW 25-08 Hansport Main Street Renewal to Dexter Construction Limited for the tendered price of $2,221,900 before applicable taxes.
Moved by Deputy Mayor.
Second.
Seconded by Councillor Paul Morton. Discussion. Put that vote up on the screen, Clerk Snare. Motion is passed. Thank you very much. Next one up.
Council pre-approves a construction contingency amount of $336,285 before applicable taxes.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Paul Morton. No questions. All right, we'll put that vote up on the screen. Motion is passed. Thank you very much. Rising Tide Shore Signage, Deputy Mayor.
Council supports the advancement of the Rising Tide Shore Signage Project with the municipality of East Hants to develop signage along Highway 215 to enhance the visitor experience, support economic development, and increase wayfinding.
Moved by Deputy Mayor,
Second.
seconded by Councillor Leary Pinch. Questions, discussion. We'll put that vote up on the screen, Clerk Snare. Motion is passed. Thank you very much. Tregothic Creek Sanitary Crossing Tender Award, Deputy Mayor.
Council approves the award of tender WHRMPW 25-06 Tregothic Creek Sanitary Pipe Crossing to Dexter Construction Limited for the tendered price of $212,500 before applicable taxes.
Moved by Deputy Mayor,
Second.
seconded by Councillor Leary Pinch. Any questions, Council? We'll put that vote up on the screen. Motion is passed. Deputy Mayor.
Council approves a project contingency amount of $33,375 before applicable taxes.
Moved by Deputy Mayor. Is there a
Second.
seconder? Councillor Leary Pinch, a second. No questions? All right, we'll put that vote up on the screen. Motion is passed. Thank you very much, everybody. All right, we will open nominations up for the Bear Lake Wind Farm Liaison Committee Council. So I'll have first call for nominations for that committee. Deputy Mayor.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Larry Pinch.
Okay. Second call for nominations. Third call for nominations. You accept the position? Congratulations. You say it with a smile too. Another committee, right? You're the champion of committees, Councillor Larry Finch. I got to give you credit. Sorry, Jeff at home. All right, Councillor Municipal Business Activity Reports. They were all submitted. I look just as I mentioned earlier, Council. I just want to thank you all. That was great reading those and lots of information and very informed information that gave me a better sense myself anyways going through them and who's doing what on committees. You may miss one of those meetings or one of those live streams, so I really appreciated reading those, and I know people at home will probably view the same thing. So we do that and we look forward to the next meeting and seeing those reports again. Correspondence, general correspondence, April 17th, we have the Attorney General, Minister of Justice, adapting additional officer program, letter NSFM, 12 months notice, and Minister Maslin Lord letter to all municipalities regarding fire service review. So those were all in the packages, Council, just for information. In the future on correspondence, if anybody wishes to put anything forward, again, please submit a report based on what you're looking for, and we'll address it through that means. Outgoing correspondence, we had nothing on this one here. New business as well. Sorry. Sorry, let's see lights. Yep.
Sorry, do I understand that to be a change in how we deal with correspondence? Mayor Zabian, we've had this conversation a few months ago. And as you know, correspondence can show up, up to the day before, the day of meetings. And so suggesting that councilors would have the ability to prepare a report to get it brought in to raise a matter that may come in on correspondence short notice will not allow that to take place. And again, we had this conversation on this a while ago. I'd just like to know why it is that we would be changing how we deal with correspondence from the public in the region.
Again, with correspondence to address it properly, if a correspondence comes in an hour before the meeting or the morning of the meeting, there is no opportunity for a motion to be presented to any member around the table, which at least 2 days should be given notice to any council member to give them a heads up on any motions coming forward or to allow them to better prepare, right? I think through that last workshop we did that last or 2 Fridays ago, it was very clear on giving people ample opportunities for motions that they are going to present to the group. So
I can appreciate that, but I can also appreciate that for us to have a discussion on this to again change the decision made by this council just 4 months ago. There should be a report that should be in front of us with the intent to change the way that we deal with correspondence again. Allowing this council the chance to have a conversation about it versus it just being.
Absolutely. The correspondence is noted in the package. It's for public record. It's there. If anybody wishes to bring something forward, again, through report form, so all of council is informed.
So what would be the deadline for putting a report in on correspondence that shows up over the weekend, for example? Are we saying that we will not accept that correspondence at that point in time, or am I misunderstanding what the intent is with this?
Yeah, the
I just want to be
correspondence
clear because
the correspondence will still be put on an agenda for information and for everybody's information. But if somebody wishes to bring a report forward addressing the issue within a correspondence, a councillor should make a report at the very next meeting, etc. If they want to add a late report, again, it's every councillor's right to add that report at the beginning of the meeting if council wishes to accept it.
So the correspondence will still appear, just to be clear. because that-
Correspondence will still appear.
And comments are still able to be made on the correspondence, or is it that correspondence will simply be there and it's there for the record, but not for discussion amongst council?
Yeah. Again, as chair of this meeting, I believe everybody needs proper notice to, so if a discussion wants to be made, it's better properly to come as report form with a clear motion. So everybody has a very clear understanding of what's going to be put forward.
Appreciate that. I just reiterate my previous comment that if we were going to change the way we're dealing with correspondence per the meeting and committee procedural policy and the way we've been dealing with it, we probably should have had a report on that here as well, that we could fully discuss it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Councillor Leary Pinch.
There would still be the opportunity, should a piece of correspondence be present for which we have not prepared a report, to bring that report back to the following meeting in regards
Absolutely.
to that correspondence. Okay.
Absolutely. Be more proper. All right. New business, we have none. We have a couple of in-cameras there, council in-camera minutes and in-camera land matter. Can I have a motion to go in camera?
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Paul Morton, seconded by Deputy Mayor. All those in favor signify by hands up. Oppose. All right, motion passed. For all those at home, I'm not sure if any motions will come out of in camera, but if they are, we will come back. If not, have a good night.